Nature is a force of chaos, but the Roman mind was one of order. Civilization is often measured in marble and gold, in temples that touch the sky and emperors carved in stone. But its true pulse, the rhythm that keeps a city alive, is found in something far more essential: the flow of water. In the year 312 BCE, a man named Appius Claudius Caecus stood at the edge of the Tiber River and looked out at the dry, dusty horizon of Rome. The city was suffocating. Wells ran shallow. Disease spread through cramped streets. Rome was a city that could not grow until Appius envisioned a revolution. He began the Aqua Appia, the first of 11 gargantuan arteries that would eventually pump 300 million gallons of water into the city every single day. Over the next 5 centuries, Rome would build nearly 300 miles of aqueduct channels, lifting water from mountain springs, carrying it across valleys, and delivering it to a population of over 1 million people. This was not merely plumbing. This was not hidden infrastructure buried beneath the city streets. This was a defiance of geography, a masterpiece of survival disguised as stone, and it changed the landscape of Europe forever. While other cultures hid their water in the earth, tunneling through rock and burying their lifelines underground, the Romans did something audacious. They lifted it into the heavens. The philosophy was radical in its simplicity. Infrastructure as art. They understood that an aqueduct wasn't just a tool, it was a declaration, a visible reminder to every traveler, every rival city, every conquered territory, that Rome had mastered the one thing no army could defeat: nature itself. And the engineering behind it? Breathtaking. The Romans mastered the law of gravity. They knew that water flows downhill, and if you could maintain a relentless, unbroken gradient, sometimes dropping only a single foot over the span of several miles, you could move vast quantities of water without a single pump. No machinery, no human labor once construction was complete. Just stone, angles, and patience. The aqueduct became a permanent silhouette of order carved against a chaotic world. Where mountains rose, the Romans bored through them. Where valleys dropped, they built bridges of stone that still stand 2,000 years later. It proved that in the Roman mind, the landscape wasn't something to adapt to, it was something to conquer. To understand the power of the aqueduct system, we must look beyond the arches. We must examine the hidden mathematics of the Roman surveyor, the man who calculated slopes in an age before computers, before calculators, before even Arabic numerals. The Groma, precision without technology. This is the Groma, a deceptively simple wooden cross with weighted plumb lines hanging from each arm. It looks primitive, ancient, almost laughable compared to modern laser levels. But with this tool, Roman engineers maintain a slope so accurate it rivals modern laser technology. They surveyed across 50 miles of rugged terrain and kept the water flowing at a gradient of less than 1 degree. One wrong calculation, one misaligned stone, and the entire system would fail. The Aqua Claudia, completed in 52 CE, traveled 43 miles from its source and dropped only 1,100 feet in elevation. That's an average slope of just 0.5%, perfection carved into stone. The inverted siphon. When gravity isn't enough, but what happens when a valley is too deep? When even the tallest arches can't span the distance? The Romans developed the inverted siphon, one of the most elegant solutions in hydraulic engineering. Instead of bridging the gap with stone, they used the weight of the water itself. They descended into the valley with lead or clay pipes, allowing gravity to pull the water down, then letting the pressure from the descending column force the water back up the opposite slope. It's counterintuitive, it's brilliant, and it required an understanding of fluid dynamics that wouldn't be formally theorized for another 1,500 years. The Aqua Marcia, built in 144 BCE, used this system to cross the Anio Valley. Witnesses describe it as water climbing uphill, a miracle carved from physics. Where engineering met society at the end of every aqueduct was the Castellum Aquae, the water castle. This was the distribution hub, the place where Roman engineering met Roman society. Water poured into a circular basin, and from there it was divided with mathematical precision. 40% to the public fountains, free water for every citizen, no matter how poor. 30% to the imperial baths, the social heart of Roman life, where politics, gossip, and daily life unfolded in pools of heated water. 30% to private homes, but only if you could afford the tax. Wealth was measured not just in gold, but in gallons. This wasn't just infrastructure. It was social architecture. The aqueduct system literally shaped Roman citizenship, health, and hierarchy. Today, nearly 2 millennia after the fall of Rome, the aqueducts remain. The Pont du Gard in southern France, 160 feet tall, 900 feet long, still carries hikers across the Gardon River. The Segovia Aqueduct in Spain, built without a single drop of mortar, still dominates the city center, its 167 arches standing defiant against time. The Aqua Virgo, constructed in 19 BCE, still supplies water to Rome's Trevi fountain. You can throw a coin into water that has been flowing for over 2,000 years. These structures remind us that landscape architecture is not a luxury. It is not decoration. It is the engineering of life itself. The Romans understood that true power isn't measured in armies or empires. It's measured in the systems that outlast them, in the ability to transform a harsh, unforgiving environment into a masterpiece of utility that serves generations yet to be born. They turned stone into rivers, valleys into highways for water, and in doing so, they turned the Italian landscape into a living testament to human will. If you are fascinated by the designs that build the world, by the engineers who carved permanence into stone and redefined what was possible, then join us. In our next episode, we step inside the private luxury of the Roman elite. We'll explore how the same water that flowed through the aqueducts was transformed into intimate gardens, reflecting pools, and the personal paradises of emperors. Subscribe to Landscape Architecture Legends as we journey through the designs that shape civilization. I am Reza Molina, and this is Landscape Architecture Legends.